Hi, guys. Today I want to talk about a topic that, well, woke people would say I'm not supposed to talk about. A topic that I am not even supposed to have an opinion on, and certainly no right to state it. Why? Because of the color of my skin. Yeah, that's right. I luckily was born without the deficit of self preservation, so I'll scratch the topic of race today. Not necessarily because I want that, because as an actual liberal, I do not believe that it makes sense to make race an issue because it's not. It doesn't matter. I don't care what color someone comes in. I couldn't care less if I tried. What I care about is character traits, how a person is, who a person is. You know, what they say, what they do, what they think. Those are the things that interest me. The color of their skin, who gives a shit? I didn't choose mine. They didn't choose theirs. So who cares? But the woke really insist on making everything about color, everything about race, which is so anti progressive that I can't even put it in words. It's race is an unimportant bullshit. It doesn't mean a damn thing. None of us, and I mean literally none of us, choose the color of our skin. None of us have any say in it. It's just a circumstantial fact. It's nothing of importance. So why the hell does always everything nowadays have to revolve around race, about the color of someone's skin? As if it was important. It is not. It's not an issue unless you make it one. And it's ignorant, stupid people who make race an issue. Smart people do not care. Liberal people do not care. Tolerant people do not care. And that's exactly the reason why the woke care so much. I mean, the sole idea of judging a people based on race is so pathetically stupid. I mean, like white pride, black pride. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. You want to be proud of something? Do something. Achieve something. You do not do your race. You do not achieve your race. So you have no reason to feel pride of your race. And so you do not have any reason to feel shame as well. Because it's nothing you did or do. It is nothing you chose. It is nothing you've accomplished. It is nothing you've messed up. So shame or pride or innocence or guilt based on race is so pathetically stupid that barely can put it into words. And that's why it's so typical for the woke to make everything about it. I mean, just look at college campuses in the US now. You have segregated dorm rooms. You have segregated, like, ceremonies. You have segregated campus tours. I mean, do you even realize that when you think this is a good idea, that there is one particular group who agrees with you? This particular group being called the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, that's right. On the issue of race, when it comes to segregating black from white, you are on the same side with the KKK. And if that doesn't show you that you're on the wrong side, I'm afraid nothing will. I mean, I hoped, I believed that we would have reached a point in our society where we realize that the color of someone's skin doesn't matter, where we do not use that crap to judge people. I really believe that we were on the way to finally get past that bullshit. And now the woke, the ones who are so tolerant, the ones who are so inclusive, the ones who are so uniting in their wisdom, do everything to divide us by color. I mean, it doesn't get more stupid than that. It doesn't get more intolerant than that. I have really problems wrapping my head around this prejudice, brainless bullshit. I mean, this bragging among woke people. Oh, I have so many friends of color. I have so many black friends and Asian friends and indigenous friends. And hey, asshole, I only have friends. They come in all shapes and sizes and colors and whatnot. But I don't give a fuck. Because I'm a rational thinking person. If you believe to be tolerant, if you believe to be reasonable, if you believe to be inclusive by befriending people based on their skin color, you are wrong, dead wrong. You are not solving any race problems. You are the problem. That's it. You can solve a problem if you embrace the problem. And I've seen this clip short while ago about, like, that was on a college campus, like a public service announcement that there were too many white people in that space. A young black woman said there's too many white people and it makes the black people feel uncomfortable. Well, she's definitely woke, because can you imagine me saying the opposite thing? Can you imagine someone who looks like me saying some black people would have to leave the room because there's too many of them there and they make us white people feel uncomfortable? Can you imagine that? Do you think that would sound okay? No? Well, then let me give you a hint. My parents taught me never say or do anything to others that you do not want others to say or do to you. So, if you have a problem with me saying something like that about black people, you should definitely have a problem as well about a black person saying that about white people, because that is part of the problem. Believe it or not, like it or not, that's an issue that needs to be addressed. And don't get me wrong, I'm not making the bullshit claim that reverse racism is worse than racism. No. And that for two reasons. First of all, it's not reverse racism. It's just racism. And second, well, I hate to break it to you, but yeah, well, the racism that people face from white people still is the biggest issue. That's a fact. That's just something that needs to be acknowledged. But that doesn't mean that it's the only racism in existence. And claiming that it was, well, that means you're not acknowledging the whole problem. You're actually denying a part of the problem. And you can never, ever solve a problem by denying the existence of a significant part of it. So, yeah, it's an issue that needs to be addressed. And, well, wokesters would probably now say, yeah, well, you as a white person, keep your mouth shut. Yeah, see, the moment you say something like that, or the moment you make it about the color of my skin, you're proving my point for me. That's a thing. Yeah. Because, well, my right to speak, my right to state my opinion, my right to have an opinion in the first place, is not dependent on the color of my skin, nor on my sex, nor on my sexual orientation, nor on my religion, none of it. Because all those things don't matter. What matters is the individual. And that is progressive. That is liberal. That is tolerant. That is open-minded. That is inclusive for everybody. And that is what you woke people haven't understood yet and probably never will. So, I don't care what your opinion is towards me. I don't care what kind of shitstorm you want me to face. I do not care. I was born without the deficit of self-preservation. I speak my mind as a true liberal, as a true progressive, as a truly tolerant person. I'm just not tolerant to idiocracy, to stupidity. I'm just not tolerant to the denial of reality. And I never will be. That does not make me right-wing. That makes me a non-woke liberal, a real old school liberal with real liberal values. Because that's what I am. So stop making everything about race. It's not helping our society at all. I mean, when you talk, especially now, the white wokesters, when you talk about how Black Panther meant to you, you're making a fool out of yourself. Because it didn't mean a lot to you. Because I understand that Black people want, need, desire, however you want to call it, representation. Absolutely. I understand that. But claiming Cleopatra to be black, that's not representation. That's delusion. Read a history book. And, well, there are more things like that. You cannot complain about the terrible whitewashing in the past while you're now, well, blackwashing. That's what you're doing. It's not helpful. And especially it deflects from one very important thing: the issue of actual existing racism. Yeah, that's what you do. With all your bullshit talk about nonsense, fictitious racism problems that you make up in order to never solve it, just to be loud, just to be vocal about fighting against racism and to pat yourself on the back. You're deflecting from actual racism that's happening. And the more and the louder you brag about fighting some non-existing racism, that you just interpret it in order to suit your narrative, you are stealing people's attention from the racism that is actually happening. The racism that should be addressed, but it can't be because people are too busy listening to your bullshit. Yeah. You are making people numb towards the word racism. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is for victims of actual racism? When people are so sick and tired of hearing racism, racism, racism all the time, everywhere, that they're not paying attention anymore when actual racism is happening. That is your fault. You are doing that. You are numbing people. And that is a problem. I mean, do you even realize what kind of a stupid game you're playing? First, you make everything about race, even when it's not about race. Then you scream racism where none is happening. But where are you when there is actual racism happening? And especially if you declare every white person inherently racist, do you think that's good for living together? Do you not realize you're doing propaganda work for white supremacists? Especially if you claim that only white people can be racist, especially if you ignore actual happening, not all the time, but sometimes, racism against white people. Do you think that makes white people, well, want to listen to your shit? Do you think that's good for society as a whole in order to live peacefully together? By calling one entire group inherently evil and ignore when a member of that group is being harassed, attacked, or maybe even murdered, and pretend as if that was not a problem because that person was born with the wrong color and had it coming? Like I said, none of us choose our skin color. So stop blaming people for things they haven't done simply because of the color of their skin, something they happen to be born with. You know why? Because that's what a white supremacist would do. Yeah. And if you agree with white supremacists, with the Ku Klux Klan, if you're on the same side with them, if you want to separate us instead of bringing us together, if you want to make up a front, a war front between us, you're not going to end up on the good side of history. I can tell you that. People have tried that bullshit before, and now we read about them in history books, but not in a good way. And we won't read in the history books about you woke idiots in a good way. But we'll read about you, but not in a good way. So, cut the shit. Stop making everything about race, because it's probably one of the least important things in existence. That's it for now. Like, share, subscribe, or try to kill me. Whatever you have the desire for. See ya.